The HOA fined him $250,000 for supposed violations on his own land. They mocked him, threatened to foreclose, and swore they had the power to ruin his life. But what they didn't know, he wasn't just a homeowner, he was the landlord of their entire neighborhood. And when the truth came out, the HOA's empire collapsed overnight. This is the story of Marcus Hill, the man who turned the tables on the HOA and left them begging for forgiveness. Marcus Hill wasn't an ordinary man. He had grown up on the land his grandfather bought decades ago, nearly 300 acres of rolling hills, fields, and creeks just outside the city. While others sold their parcels to developers, Marcus kept his. To him, it wasn't just land, it was family, legacy, and independence. But as the years passed, shiny new homes started sprouting near his property line. Developers created a new neighborhood called Lakeside Meadows, and with it came the inevitable, a homeowners association. At first, Marcus paid little attention to the HOA. After all, he didn't live in their subdivision. He had his own house, his own rules, but HOA greed doesn't stop at fences. One morning, Marcus opened his mailbox to find a thick envelope stamped Lakeside Meadows Homeowners Association. Inside was a violation notice listing supposed infractions: unapproved structures, improper land use, failure to maintain landscaping. The kicker: they fined him $250,000. Marcus shook his head, laughing. This can't be real. I don't even live in your neighborhood. But the HOA wasn't joking. Their president, Karen Whitfield, showed up at his gate the next day with a clipboard. "Mr. Hill, as long as your land borders our community, you're subject to our bylaws. If you don't pay, we'll place a lien on your property." Marcus stared at her in disbelief. "Lady, you don't own me. And you sure as hell don't own my land," but Karen smirked. "We'll see about that." The following weeks were a nightmare. Marcus received letters daily. The fines increased with interest. HOA board members parked outside his driveway, taking pictures of his barns, his fences, even his tractor. Then came the ultimate insult, a foreclosure notice. The HOA claimed that because of his unpaid fines, they had the right to seize his land. Marcus knew then this wasn't ignorance, it was war. What Karen and the HOA didn't know was that Marcus had been patient for a reason. Years earlier, when the land developers bought parcels to build Lakeside Meadows, they had leased the lots from a holding company. That company? It was owned by Marcus. In fact, every single home in Lakeside Meadows sat on his land. The HOA thought they were the authority, but in reality, they were just tenants, paying ground rent every year into Marcus's trust. And while they schemed to ruin him with fines, Marcus quietly gathered his paperwork. He pulled deeds, leases, and contracts from his files. Everyone stamped with his grandfather's signature, and later, his own. The HOA had tried to play landlord, but Marcus was the actual landlord of them all. Marcus called a special community meeting. Flyers went out. Homeowners gathered in the subdivision clubhouse, whispering about the man the HOA wanted gone. Karen stood at the front, smug, with the $250,000 fine paperwork in her hands. Then Marcus walked in holding a leather folder. He set it on the table and calmly spoke. "Before you accuse me again, you should know who really owns this place." The room fell silent as Marcus pulled out the deeds. "This land, all 200 acres beneath, your homes, it belongs to me. Your HOA president has been threatening to fine me, foreclose on me, and even take my property. But the truth is, you've been living on mine." Gasps filled the room. Karen's face drained of color. Marcus continued. "Here are your leases, signed by me. Every year your HOA cuts a check to my trust. You don't own this neighborhood, you rent it from me." The room erupted in chaos. Homeowners shouted at Karen, they demanded answers. Some even tore up their HOA membership cards on the spot. Marcus raised his hand. "Calm down, I'm not here to evict you, but know this, your HOA has overstepped. They've fined me illegally, they've harassed me, and now they'll face consequences." He handed over a letter from his attorney, a lawsuit against the HOA for fraud, harassment, and attempted theft. Damages sought, $10 million. The homeowners realized the truth. Karen and her board had abused their power, and now the very ground beneath their homes belonged to the man they tried to destroy. Within weeks, the HOA dissolved. Karen resigned in Maimain's disgrace. The lawsuit forced the board members to pay Marcus restitution, and the $250,000 fine? Gone, replaced with a settlement check in Marcus's favor. Marcus didn't raise rents. He didn't punish the homeowners. He simply reminded them every year who truly owned the land they lived on. But as for Karen, her reputation was ruined. She moved away, muttering about how she had been humiliated by the man she thought she could control. Marcus often sat on his porch after that, sipping coffee, watching the sun set over the hills. His grandfather's land was safe. His legacy was intact. And the HOA, it learned a brutal lesson. Never bite the hand that holds your foundation, because when they tried to bury Marcus under $250,000 in fines, he reminded them he owned everything they stood on. So tell me, if someone fined you hundreds of thousands of dollars for violations on your own land, would you fight in court or drop the truth bomb like Marcus did? Comment below. I read everyone. And if you believe greedy HOAs, always get what's coming. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories where justice is served.